Hello and welcome to Practical Puppy Pointers with me, Vicky the Vet, and Alfred the Great, working from home again today. Today we're going to talk about biting, chewing, things like that. Very common thing that people worry about with puppies. Puppies have very sharp teeth and it really hurts. So we're going to talk about that today. Before we move on to talk about that, I just want to introduce the idea of our sort of rescue word. So when we're training our dogs, they learn by doing, and they learn by doing again and again and again. When we're training them, and we're going to be moving on at some point to talk about recall, for example, we need that to be really focused on the training that we're doing at that moment, so on the recall. If you want Puppy to come to you, a puppy's in the garden looking at something really interesting, and you use your recall cue, it's reasonably likely the puppy won't come straight away and you won't get the recall that you want because Puppy's busy doing something else. And we don't want Puppy to learn that if you use the recall cue, they don't always come back to you. So you need to have a different word that you use in the house to say, come on, and it's all going to be fun, okay? So in my house, we use pop-ups and we always reward that. So if I want Alfie to come in from the back garden, I won't say come, which is my recall. I save that for training and when we're on walks. I will say pop-ups, and I always have a pot of treats by the back door. I always have a pot of treats by the kitchen door. I always have a pot of treats by the front door. I always have a pot of treats by the living room door. So that if I want him to come into the living room or into the kitchen, I can just say pop-ups and then throw some treats across the floor, throw some treats into his bed, whatever. So he just follows the treats, and it's not a command. I'm not asking him to do anything. I'm just saying, hey, I've got this amazing thing for you. So that's what I'm going to say first of all, and we'll probably talk about that again, and that applies to most of the training things that we're going to be doing. Always have your kind of backup pop-ups as your sort of distraction from whatever they're doing, and it means you're not going to get told off, nothing bad's going to happen, you're going to have a little treat, and there's something really good in it here for you, but it's not a command, it's not a cue. We're not saying, well, I want you to do something. So that will help. So we'll come to that later, but biting and chewing. So Puppy's teeth are really sharp, and it really hurts if they bite you. Puppies explore with their mouths, they're learning about their new environment that they're in, and they're teething, and sometimes they're bored, and that combination can be pretty tough on your hands. So the most important thing is to not let Puppy chew you at all, ever. It is never allowed. What I see a lot of people doing is they let Puppy chew a little bit because it's quite cute and it's quite gentle, and then it gets too hard, and that's not really any good for anybody. So human hands, ankles, feet are never ever acceptable to be chewed. We need to provide plenty of other things to chew. So Alfie really liked, I got him one of these, and it's got kind of crinkly things and he can tug and play it, and it's got then a squeaky little bit up in here somewhere. It does. I think you have to be a dog to make it squeak. Anyway, it squeaks. And then different textures, so that's quite a nice leathery texture. And then of course we've got our classic Kong. So Kongs are really good at keeping them entertained. So don't ever allow Pup to bite your skin. So what do we do when Pup is wanting to bite our skin? Well, we just take ourselves away. So we are hopefully the best thing in the world for Puppy, and when Puppy's biting us, we're just going to say, oh no, and whatever you want to say, and then walk away. If Pup is overstimulated, over-aroused, and Pup tries to follow you, then we can just pop Pup in the crate, not as a punishment, but with our pop-ups, throw in some food, throw in a Kong so that it's not a punishment. So the crate is a safe space. We're not using the crate as a punishment because we're just popping Pup in the crate just with some treats, just with some food, okay? So the other thing to say is that chewing is stress relief. So it's really good for dogs to chew. So we need to make sure they have plenty of things that they are allowed to chew. And as we've talked about before, puppies learn by doing, so we're going to prevent access to things that we don't want them to chew. If they chew something, it's pretty much your fault. You've got to watch them the whole time. There's no sitting back and relaxing when you've got a puppy. Watch them the whole time. It's time well spent because you will be teaching, you'll be learning. Okay, they will be learning that they're allowed to chew fun, good things like this. If pup is overstimulated, so dilated pupils, really quite, busy with what they're doing, that's a really bad time to sit and stroke them. You just need to let them calm down. Maybe give them some time out in the crate with some treats. Make sure they've got enough exercise, make sure they're having enough interactions and training so that they're mentally well stimulated. And the other thing to talk about is children. So it's often quite stressful for a child having a nippy puppy about, and children often make quite an exciting response to the puppy. So generally I would say children on the sofa with their legs on the sofa, puppy on the floor. And that way the children get to have some peace and quiet, and the puppy can do its thing on the floor and the kids can be safe. If puppy is jumping around and getting overstimulated and trying to bite, then that's your cue to step in and give some time out. Don't forget that sometimes pup wants to be left alone, and so sometimes leaving puppy alone is actually the best thing for pup, and that's really important for children to know. So if pup is overstimulated and excited and then the child goes in to play with pup or to try and stroke pup, child is highly likely to get bitten, and that is not good for anybody. Make sure the children know that they are not allowed to let puppy chew them at all, even if it's gentle and cute. Children can play with puppy with toys that they're allowed to tug and chew and that sort of thing, and that's a good thing to do. It's good bonding for them. But if pup's getting overstimulated and starting to chew too close to the child's hands, then just give the pup the toy and then child walks away. The other thing is when children are greeting puppies, often what they do is they put their hand down to say hello to the top of the head, and puppy basically sees this thing coming towards and so will then try and bite. Best thing is to go straight for the chest, so underneath, but nice, not sort of but nice and confident, a nice little rub on the chest, and then let puppy sniff your hand, but not coming in over the top and waving your hand around in front of their eyes. If pup is jumping up and being really overexcited and trying to nip, then what you need to tell your child to do is to stand still, fold their arms and look away. So eye contact is a reward. So we don't want any reward at all. So no eye contact, stand perfectly still, don't say anything, fold your arms and just be really boring, and pup will get bored and walk off. If pup doesn't get bored and walk off, that's when the adult needs to step in and say pup-pups and then distract away, okay? So this should be a really fun period in your life. I do agree that biting and chewing is stressful for you to deal with, but actually it doesn't last that long as a phase. And if you remember the basic guidelines, allow things they're allowed to chew, don't allow any chewing of human skin, and try and avoid playing with them or trying to be with them when they're overstimulated. Use the pup-pups to get them wherever you want them to be, and plenty of food, plenty of treats, plenty of legal chew, so things they're allowed to chew. I hope that all makes sense. Please do come back to me if you have any questions or queries. Thank you.